Reaching your first $100,000 is universally called the holy grail of personal finance, but for nearly 80% of the people who actually achieve it, that exact number is where their financial growth permanently dies. It is the single most dangerous psychological trap in the entire wealth-building journey, and almost nobody warns you about what happens inside your brain the morning after you cross that six-figure line. Think about how you got here. You skipped the weekend trips. You packed your lunch while your co-workers ordered $30 takeout. You tracked every single dollar in a spreadsheet like your life depended on it. You were hungry, disciplined, and slightly obsessed. You told yourself that once you hit $100,000, everything would change. You believed Charlie Munger's famous rule that the first 100 grand is a total grind, but after that you can finally coast because compounding will do the heavy lifting for you. And that exact belief is the poison pill. The moment the balance hits six figures, a quiet shift happens in your nervous system. The urgency disappears, the hunger evaporates. For the first time in your adult life, you don't feel the sharp sting of financial anxiety. You have a safety net that could pay your basic living expenses for 2 or 3 years if everything went completely wrong. And that is where the danger zone begins. Psychologists call this the comfort plateau. When you had $10,000, you were playing offense. You were looking for higher paying skills, taking calculated risks, building side projects, and pushing yourself to grow your primary income. But with $100,000 in the bank, your entire psychological wiring flips from offense to defense. Suddenly, your main focus isn't how to make the next 100,000, it's how to protect the 100,000 you already have. You start hesitating. You stay in a dead-end job with a toxic manager because the paycheck is predictable and you don't want to disrupt your steady contributions. You pass on starting a high-upside business because risking $10,000 of your hard-earned stack feels physically painful. You become terrified of losing what you've built, completely forgetting that the only reason you built it was because you were willing to be uncomfortable in the first place. Here is the brutal arithmetic no one explains on social media. $100,000 invested in an index fund at an 8% return gives you $8,000 a year. That's roughly $21 a day. That is not enough to change your zip code. It is not enough to quit your job. It is not enough to buy back your freedom. Yet your brain treats that milestone as if you've already crossed the finish line. You begin participating in quiet lifestyle creep. You don't buy a sports car, but you stop negotiating your bills. You buy the premium groceries. You take slightly nicer vacations. You tell yourself you've earned it, and on paper you have. But because you lowered your foot from the gas pedal, the time it takes to get from 100,000 to $500,000 stretches from 5 years into 15. The people who break out of this trap understand one fundamental rule. $100,000 is not a financial fortress. It is simply a launchpad. The first milestone proves you know how to practice self-control, but self-control alone will not make you wealthy. The second phase requires courage, asymmetric bets, and an aggressive focus on scaling your earning power rather than obsessing over saving another $10 on coffee. Saving that initial sum gave you something far more valuable than interest payments. It bought you the runway to fail without starving. It bought you the right to take massive career risks, negotiate with absolute leverage, and bet on yourself without fear of missing rent. The tragedy isn't going broke trying to achieve something great. The real tragedy is using your first taste of security as an excuse to settle into a lifetime of comfortable mediocrity. Your first $100,000 was designed to buy your courage. Don't let it buy your complacency.